The first time I borrowed tomorrow, I thought God had finally answered my prayers. 3 days later, my own mother forgot my birthday. Rain hammered against the rusty roof of Zainab's one-room apartment in Lagos. The power had gone out again. She sat on the edge of her mattress, staring at the eviction notice trembling in her hands, while water leaked through a crack in the ceiling into a plastic bucket beside her. 3 months unpaid rent, her phone battery was on 2%, no food, no job, and only 1,700 naira left in her account. Her stomach tightened as another message entered her phone. Your brother's school fees are due tomorrow morning. Please help if you can. Zainab closed her eyes. Help. Everybody always needed help. But nobody ever asked if she was surviving. Thunder shook the room. Her phone died. Darkness swallowed everything. For a long moment, she simply sat there, listening to the rain and dripping ceiling. Then came 3 slow, heavy knocks. Zainab frowned. Who would visit by this kind of weather? She opened the door carefully. An old woman stood outside beneath the rain. Her wrapper was soaked. Grey hair clung to her face, but strangely, her eyes looked young. Too young. Almost glowing beneath the streetlight.
Please,
the old woman whispered.
Can I stay here until the rain stops?
Zainab hesitated. She barely had enough space for herself, but something about the woman's trembling hands softened her heart. She stepped aside. The old woman entered slowly, looking around the tiny apartment in silence. Her eyes stopped on the eviction notice, then on the empty pot near the stove, then finally on Zainab.
You are suffering,
she said quietly. Zainab forced a laugh. Aren't we all? The woman smiled faintly.
No, yours has reached the ears of tomorrow.
A cold chill moved through the room. The rain outside suddenly sounded distant. The old woman reached into her bag and brought out something wrapped in red cloth. A small bracelet made of cowries and black hairs.
This belonged to my daughter,
she said.
She no longer needs it.
Zainab stared at it cautiously. What does it do? The woman leaned closer.
When tonight becomes unbearable, you may borrow from tomorrow.
Lightning flashed across the room. For 1 second, the old woman's shadow behind her looked unnaturally tall, almost twisted. Zainab swallowed hard. What does that even mean? The woman placed the bracelet into her hand.
If you need money, borrow tomorrow's luck. If you need escape, borrow tomorrow's peace, but never forget this rule.
Her voice became deadly serious.
Every borrowed day must be taken from somewhere.
The room fell silent. Then suddenly, NEPA restored power. The bulb flickered to life. Zainab blinked. The old woman was gone. The door stood wide open. Rain poured into the corridor outside, but there were no footsteps, no movement, nothing. Only the bracelet resting in Zainab's palm. And somewhere far away, thunder growled again. Zainab did not sleep that night. The bracelet sat on her mattress beside her while the rain continued until morning. Every few minutes, she glanced at it again. Cowries, blackheads, nothing special, nothing magical. Yet the old woman's words refused to leave her mind.
When tonight becomes unbearable, you may borrow from tomorrow.
By sunrise, hunger finally pushed fear aside. Zainab tied the bracelet around her wrist. Nothing happened. She laughed nervously at herself. See me taking village superstition seriously. Then her phone vibrated. Battery 1%. Impossible. It had died completely the night before. Her eyes narrowed. Slowly, she picked up the phone. One unread email. She opened it. Her heartbeat stopped. A company she had applied to months ago was offering her a branding contract worth 450,000 naira. Zainab covered her mouth. No way. The email ended with, "Payments will be made immediately upon acceptance." Tears filled her eyes. She accepted within seconds. By afternoon, the money entered her account. That evening, she bought food for the first time in 2 days. She paid part of her rent and sent some money home. For the first time in months, she breathed. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe. But later that night, curiosity returned. The room was quiet. The bracelet felt strangely warm against her skin. Zainab stared at it, then whispered softly, "I need tomorrow's luck." The light flickered instantly. A violent headache struck her skull. For one terrifying second, she saw flashes. A larger apartment, a smiling man, a little girl laughing. There was sunlight and she felt peace. Then everything vanished. Zainab gasped and grabbed her chest. The room became normal again. Her breathing trembled. What was that? Her phone rang suddenly, unknown number. "Hello? Good evening," a woman said excitedly. "We saw your old marketing portfolio online and would love to discuss a full-time role." Zainab sat frozen. Another opportunity. Another miracle. But this time, fear crawled beneath her excitement. Because somewhere deep inside her mind, that laughing little girl from the vision felt familiar. Within 2 weeks, Zainab's life transformed completely. New job, better clothes, steady income. Even her landlord suddenly became respectful.
"You are doing well now."
He smiled one morning. She smiled back politely. But something was wrong. Little things at first. Tiny things. One afternoon, she met her childhood friend Amaka at a supermarket. Amaka stared at her awkwardly. "Sorry, have we met before?" Zainab laughed. Very funny. But Amaka looked serious. "I'm sorry, I really don't remember you." The smile left Zainab's face. That night, very disturbed, she searched through old photos on her phone. Pictures from secondary school had changed. In group photographs, she was missing. Her chest tightened. No! She rushed to Facebook. Old birthday posts from friends had disappeared, comments erased, tags missing, as if she had never existed in part of their lives. Her hands shook violently. Then she noticed something worse, a memory, or rather, the absence of one. She tried remembering her father's voice. Nothing came. Not his laugh, not his face, nothing at all. Panic exploded inside her. What is happening to me? Then the bracelet grew warm again, and suddenly the old woman's warning echoed in her head.
Every borrowed day must be taken from somewhere.
Zainab became obsessed. She stopped sleeping properly. She stopped eating. Every night she searched for answers. Who was the old woman? What exactly was the bracelet taking? Then one night everything changed. At exactly 12:03 a.m., the bracelet burned against her wrist. A voice whispered inside the room.
Look carefully.
The mirror across the apartment began to ripple like water. Zainab stumbled backward in terror. Then she saw it. A different life. Her life, older, happier. She stood inside a beautiful home, laughing beside a man she somehow recognized instantly. A husband. And beside them, the little girl from the earlier vision, their daughter. The child ran into Zainab's arms. "Mommy!" Zainab burst into tears immediately. The love she felt in that single moment was overwhelming. Then the vision shifted violently. The child began fading, pixel by pixel, like smoke disappearing. The husband turned desperately.
"Zainab, what did you do?"
The room cracked apart. Darkness swallowed everything. Zainab screamed and fell to the floor. The mirror shattered. Silence. Then realization hit her. Every time she borrowed luck, she stole from that future. She was not borrowing empty days. She was destroying the life she was supposed to live. Zainab tried removing the bracelet. it would not come off. She cut her wrist, trying. Nothing worked. As days passed, reality worsened. Neighbors stopped recognizing her. Co-workers forgot conversations minutes after speaking to her. One morning, her own mother answered her call and said, "Who is this?" Zainab collapsed, crying. The world was erasing her, piece by piece. Then came the final message. At exactly midnight, her dead phone turned on by itself. One notification appeared from an unknown number. "Your final payment is due tomorrow." Attached was an address, an abandoned market on the edge of Lagos. Zainab went the next night. The market was empty except for lanterns glowing in the darkness. And waiting at the corner, the old woman. "You knew this would happen," Zainab whispered. The woman nodded slowly.
You kept borrowing.
"You ruined my life,"
Oh no.
the old woman replied quietly.
You ruined your future because you believed suffering was something to escape immediately.
Tears rolled down Zainab's face. "Can I fix it?" The old woman stared at her for a long moment.
Yes.
Hope entered Zainab's chest. Then the woman spoke again.
But you must return every borrowed day.
Zainab's breathing slowed. "And what happens to me?" The old woman looked away.
You will become a stranger to everyone, including yourself.
3 days later, Zainab disappeared. Not physically, existentially. Her apartment became vacant. Her workplace records vanished. Her social media accounts no longer existed. Nobody remembered her. Nobody except one little girl. Years later, during a heavy rainstorm in Lagos, a young mother and her daughter rushed beneath a bus stop for shelter. There, sitting quietly in the corner, was an old woman wearing cowrie bracelets. The little girl suddenly froze. Her eyes widened. "Mommy!" The mother frowned. "What is it?" The little girl pointed at the old woman.
"She's the woman from my dream."
The old woman slowly smiled. Then she looked directly at the child and gently asked, "When tomorrow becomes unbearable, would you like to borrow from the future?"